Quickly to summarize, exponential functions that look something like this have an asymptote that's horizontal, so it never gets below some certain y value. And if you look at the domain and the range, there's always going to be no restrictions on the domain in an exponential function, but the range is going to have some sort of restriction. I'll call it c. So it'll be c to infinity. So if this line is at c, like for example, if I had y equals a to the x plus c, this can never get less than 0. And then I have this plus c. So I have c there. What if I had y equals negative a to the x plus c? Well, in that case, my range would be negative infinity to c because my graph would be going in this direction and it would never cross c. So my range is going to be restricted in an exponential function, but my domain has no restrictions. Now, a logarithmic function has a vertical asymptote somewhere. So I put a vertical asymptote somewhere, and the graph looks something like this, and it starts to grow really slow. So there are no range restrictions. There's no y values that can't happen, but the domain has some sort of restriction. So if I call this c again, then the domain is going to be from c to infinity. Or if I have some sort of vertical flip, it would be negative infinity to c. So the domain has restrictions, but the range doesn't in a logarithmic function. One last thing, if I'm looking at this, what if I change my exponential function to be y equals a to the x minus b plus c? Well, that would do some sort of horizontal shift. So that would maybe move the graph to the left or to the right or something. But notice that's not changing my domain and it's not changing my range. Likewise, if I have a logarithmic function, so log base a of x minus b, well, actually, I should put the c on the inside. So x minus c plus b. If I have some sort of vertical shift of some kind, that's not going to change my domain or range. But if I have a shift with the x, that's going to change the domain of the function because that's going to move the asymptote to the left or to the right.